Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of January 13th, going all the way to the 19th, where this week we have got a full moon week on our hands. So there's a lot of energy that is definitely rising to the surface, especially as we are experiencing this particular lunation with Mars also retrograde in the same sign. So this is a lot of energy that is out on the table. And we're going to talk just for a second here in a second about Mars also being out of bounds as we are experiencing this energy. So the thing I want you to know first and foremost as we're coming into this week, that if I had to give you a day this week to really work and bring in your resting and your grounding, it's going to be Thursday. So if you want to mark that, put that on the calendar this week, that is the day where we spend the early portion of the day in a void of course moon. So it's more about finishing things, letting the energy settle, and then the moon is going to shift into the vibration of Virgo, bringing more grounding. So Thursday is the rest day. The rest of the week, we have some other things that we're definitely going to be working on. So if you're joining me live, welcome. It's beautiful to see you. It's beautiful to be with you before I hop on a plane tomorrow morning to go see our soulmates that are in Australia. Also, I want to just take a minute to send a lot of love and a lot of heart to our soulmates that are in California and who have been affected by the fires that are going on in California, to our soulmates who are also down in Louisiana and across the globe, wherever you are today, just sending a lot of love to you. Those of us that are not experiencing those things are definitely holding you, sending you a lot of love and a lot of good vibration. And remember that regardless of what it feels like, whatever it looks like, the astrology is built in a cosmic way to actually help you get where you need to be. But we're human beings, so we're going to hold space for you in between, because what is supposed to be and what it feels like is not always the same thing, right? So just sending you a bunch of love. Okay, friends, listen. So if you have not already grabbed your digital transit calendar from our friends at Wise Skies Collective, it is not just a product to sell here on the channel. I only try to bring you guys products or tools or resources that are going to actually help you really learn your astrology, have astrology in your pocket so that you can be your own best astrologer to the best of your ability. So it is a beautiful, beautiful tool. You can also get a little discount if you are using my code in the description box down below. So make sure that you absolutely jump down there and check it out. And to help support the astro learning as well, I've created a new playlist for you that you will see popping up on the home screen here very soon, but you can definitely find it in the community tab, and it is the nodes playlist. We are talking about the nodes moving not only from Virgo and Pisces energy, but also it is a playlist to teach you all about the nodes. It's myself teaching, Brian Coulter's in there. We've also got Catherine Urban, Natai Mitchell's in there. So we've got a lot of lessons. Judith Hill is in there as well. So it's a bunch of lessons where we have talked about the nodes and the impact of the nodes so that you can really get that learning and that experience down under your belt. So make sure that you click into the nodal playlist and definitely check it out, okay? All right, let's get in here and talk about what is going on this week. And after this video is done, I will go down and put timestamps in the description box down below. So if you're watching live and you feel like you've missed it, as soon as this is done, I'll go grab the timestamps and put them down there for you, okay? All right, so first things first, as we are coming into the week on Monday, we are coming in, like I said, with a lot of energy at our hands, because we're coming in with the moon already traveling, and the moon on our moon day is going to set the tone for kind of how does the day feel? How is the day, coming into us? So the moon is in Cancer already. So there's a lot of emotional moon moving, moody kind of energy that is already available. And like I said, we're also seeing that Mars is retrograde and out of bounds in the sign of Cancer as well. So I want to just touch on this Mars being out of bounds for just a minute. When a planet is out of bounds, it's kind of like it gets free reign of the terrain. So it gets to do the most. Now it's going to do the most of whichever particular sign that it's in. So it can bring a lot of intensity in that. And Mars is going to stay out of bounds all the way until April. Yes, we will leave this retrograde period, but it's out of bounds until we get into April. So when we see Mars get out of bounds, we can see Mars showing up in a position that is a lot more aggressive. It is just a lot more aggressive. And we have definitely seen some bigger acts of massive aggression while Mars has been out of bounds, to include our fires that we're seeing in the Palisades. And it's not done quite yet. Now, this is not an energy of being fearful. However, in regards to the full moon that we're also going to be experiencing this week, these really big notes of my safety, my security, any resentments, and remember, resentment doesn't mean that we're angry about it. It's something that is even a story we're replaying over and over again so that we're refeeling it. There's a lot of refeeling happening, and a maybe frustration of I'm not sure what to do with that, or the frustration of there's nothing for me to do. So this can also be a vibration that feels a bit powerless as we're coming into Monday. So how do we work with that? How do you align with that, right? Do you just give up? You're like, forget it, Mars is out of balance, I'm completely powerless. That is not what I would put on the table for a suggestion at all. Instead, to align with this energy, first of all, make space if you can here, especially as we're coming into this week. What is it that has this space of emotional release that needs to happen? And even if it is not emotional release where you need to cry, you're angry, you're upset, what is welling out of you? You know, is there an emotion welling from you that is joy, that is love, that is unconditional giving? You know, what is trying to come as this big emotional release for you as we're even in the vicinity of coming into this week into that full moon energy? The other thing is to honor your intuition. And I would also say nurture the relationships around you. Now, we've got some other energies that are coming up this week as well that I think call to a natural nurturing of not just community, but the relationships in direct proportion to things happening and changing in the world, okay? So as we're coming in on Monday, we are coming in with very much so a lot of moon day Cancerian lunar energy. But before we get to this full moon that's actually going to be happening, first aspect that leads us into Monday is the sun in a trine to Uranus, and Uranus is still retrograde at this point. And this is something nice to know. We're coming in with a harmonious aspect in our backs, right? So this is an invitation. It's an aspect of ease. It's ease and opportunity, but you have to go to it. This is not the one that is just naturally coming to you. It's just naturally there. So it's an invitation to innovate in some way. Do it different. Look at this different. Go about that differently. View this differently, right? This is an energy of spontaneity. Maybe you need to just try it. Just go. Stop thinking about it, right? Or maybe you need to not go and sit and think about it for a minute, right? Whatever it is, this is an energy though that can be really great too for having a breakthrough or gaining some kind of fresh perspective, some kind of fresh insight into a situation that has really been feeling very stagnant, right? Because Uranus is still retrograde. So the energy has maybe been, it's just right here and I feel like I just can't get to it. So if this is a time, coming early Monday morning, you get up and you feel like, wow, I have this sudden, Uranus, I have this sudden idea for a creative project, or I have a really unique idea for a solution to a problem that's probably been long-standing, this is the energy I would say, yes, go with it, work with it. Work with that, okay? Now, just behind that, when we get later in the day, 3:27 p.m., that's Mountain Time, we're going to see that the full moon is happening at 23 degrees of Cancer. Now, if you haven't already watched your full moon in Cancer video, make sure you check it out. We even went old school in that video. I got the paper and you guys loved it. So I will do more of that. I absolutely loved it. But as we're looking at the full moon, I just want to say too, I got the question several times this week from, let's see, it's Hermes Tregmegistus. Oh, I'm sure I murdered that. And Ariana Waragira about having placements at 23 degrees of Cancer, and does that change the impact of that particular planet? Yes, if you have a planet, if you have a point like a node or something like that, or you've got an angle that is at 23 degrees of Cancer to about 25, 27 degrees of Cancer, yes, this is going to have a particular impact on you, depending on which planet or angle or point is involved. But what it ultimately is going to do is really bring your attention to not only what is coming up and being presented to you at this particular full moon, right? What are the emotionally charged themes that are coming up for you around home, family, the past, your security, your nurturing? Where are you finding that there is a space welling in you that is looking to release that emotional baggage and maybe have this reconnection to your inner world? Now, for all of us, what we want to do is find 23 degrees of Cancer on our charts and see what house that's lighting up for us. Where exactly are those particular themes lighting up in your chart? And if you want to know a little bit more about it, you can always go to stormygrace.com and check out my astrology encyclopedia and just look up full moon in my third house. And I've got a beautiful breakdown for you there. I'll make sure that's in the description box down below. But if you are at this full moon and you feel this pull to pull in or spend more time with loved ones, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean family, because sometimes we choose the family we want to be with, right? But you feel like I need to pull in, I need to be closer to them, or you're more reflective of your own emotional needs. Use this full moon time to not only create your pivot that I talk about in your full moon video, because it is time to change direction, but use this energy to look at how can I create a safe and comforting space for your own emotions and yourself and your own security, but also those that are about you and those that care about you. This is a wonderful energy to do that. What I don't think that this is, and it can be available, is a great lunation to make really impulsive decisions. To just say, F it, I'm gonna do it, I wouldn't say that, because that may just be a response to feeling like I'm not getting a need met. And so now I'm just going to do something. Let your emotions settle for a minute. And then I think you can see what the pathway forward is. But whatever's trying to come up and be released, that is to your favor. Now we're going to see that the moon is going to go void, of course, towards the end of the day, just after a few hours after this lunation happens. And it's going to be 9:45 p.m. Mountain Time. And so as the moon is going to go void of course, before it actually slides into that quiet void of course time, it's going to come into a trine with Neptune. And I think that this is a little bit of like salve, a little cream to help whatever was welling up for you. Because first of all, it's a great time to meditate, to journal, to tap into your intuition, and to be a little bit more at ease in your own spirit. And after we've had a lot of energy pumping through, or feeling like you can't quite get something to work out, or there's nothing you can do to move things forward, you're just having realizations. I think that this can be an energy that feels a little bit like honey, right? You're like, that makes the medicine go down a little bit better. Okay, when we get to Tuesday the 14th, we are going to see that the moon is going to come around about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. Mountain Time, and we're going to see that the moon enters into the vibration of Leo. So now we're going to have this shift of energy. And first of all, it shifts the moon into fire. So this is a more outspoken, a more energetic, more dynamic energy right here on Tuesday. So just moving into Tuesday in general, we get a little help. That little vibration is coming around. We're a little bit more bold. We're a little bit more creative. It is energetically, at an emotional level, a good day to become the explorer. Step out, explore, create. And creating doesn't always mean, like doing art. You don't always have to be doing some art. Sometimes what we create are the lives that we really want to live, or we create brilliant new solutions to long-standing problems, and then we have the courage to carry those solutions out. That is where like the heart and the energy may be presenting itself. So if it's a day where you feel inspired to share your talent in some way, or share something that you're working on, or maybe a solution you've come up with, I would highly encourage it. Just behind that, we're going to see that Venus comes into a square with Jupiter. This is mid-afternoon around 12:50 p.m. Now, this aspect, It's the benefics going up against each other. So it can be a little bit indulgent. It really can be. Or it can be an energy where now you've got a little bit you got a little chutzpah, a little vibe back, and now you want to overcommit. There's an overcommitment challenge that can present itself here. So I would just say here on Tuesday, if you can be mindful of what you're saying yes to, or like slow down before you say yes to something, be clear of what you're saying yes to, because it will ultimately mean, first of all, right, that you're going to need to show up and do and be accountable and participate in whatever you've just said yes to. But it also means that you'll be required to say no to something else in order to fulfill that. Yes. So I just want you to be really clear on the tension that that can bring up. Now, the tension can also be seen, this is Venus. It can be seen a little bit in relationships for sure, right? Like something is too indulgent, or maybe in your partnership, one of you has been too indulgent, and now you're having to have this conversation, kind of bring things back to some kind of balance. You're like, this is out of control. We're out of control, right? So don't overspend on that luxury item. Don't overextend yourself at a social level if you can avoid it, all right? Now, on Wednesday, coming in, we're going to see that the sun is going to be in an opposition to Mars that is retrograde and out of bounds. And this is what I'm talking about, right? And this is later in the evening. So this is going to be, what time do we have? 7:38 p.m. So it's going to be late in the day. Okay, so as we're experiencing this particular opposition, first of all, it is tension because they're going in two different directions. So this can stir more of that out of bounds Mars frustration. So something that you've been trying to move, something that you want to do, or something you feel powerless about being able to make a real decision on or do something about, can feel like it's more frustrating, especially if you're like, this is my goal. This is some kind of authority figure. Let's just say authority figure, because I don't want to fill in the blank of your particular authority figure, right? But either of these things, and you're feeling frustrated, and there's a tension here. What you can do is remember, in every opposition, it's about finding the sweet spot in the middle. Where are they? Where do they both agree? Where can they meet in the middle? So using this energy to reflect on what is the action or the strategy I'm taking to get what I want, as opposed to just acting impulsively, is the vibe. However, I do think that even globally, we are going to see that Mars is very, very frustrated right now. It's frustrated and it is on a path of change. It is cutting away. It is burning away all sorts of things. So to just be cool like a cucumber while you're feeling challenged, or if you feel like somebody is questioning you, right? Or if someone's questioning a decision that you want to make, or your leadership, that is easier said than done. But that's why we gather to talk about astrology, right? So that you have a minute to put in a pause, step back, and evaluate the decisions and the actions that you're getting ready to make and take on. Behind that, we are going to see that the moon is going to get ready for its next void, of course, that is going to be later in the evening and coming all the way into Thursday. Now, that moon is going to stay void, of course, all the way until, what do we got here? We've got until 9:45 a.m. on Thursday, the 16th. Okay, so the moon, just for context, the moon's going into its void, of course, time on Wednesday at 9:09 p.m. Mountain Time, all the way until 9:45. So we've got a good 12 hours of working with this void, of course, energy. So something to consider and to keep in mind is that, again, be open. Stay open to change. And even if the change doesn't feel pleasant, the last aspect the moon is going to make before it goes void, of course, is actually with Uranus. So this can be like a breakthrough, or, you're used to responding very nicely and very kindly, and this is, you're having to be a little bit more sharp, or vice versa. Be open to the shift without having to super overreact to it. This is going to be This can be great for managing those reactive behaviors if we play it well, okay? On Thursday, we've got that void of course moon until we get till about 9 o'clock in the morning, really until about 10 to let all the vibes go off mountain time. And then the moon is going to shift into Virgo. Now, this is the day this week that I think we get the most grounding because, first of all, we've only had the vibration of finishing things. It's been about, okay, put it down. We need to rest. We need to review. We need to look at what's here, not necessarily what's coming. And now the Virgo moon brings us back to a sense of practicality. We're going to get detail oriented in our energy. It is a great day for organizing ourselves, our internal lives, but it's also a great day for just getting organized and seeing where we can do things that allow us to be the most productive. With Mars retrograde, one of the best questions I think that we can ask at this particular time are two things. First of all, what can I do? Because there's a lot we can't do and we can't force forward, but okay, what can I do? And then to put your head where your hands are on those things that you can do. What a beautiful use of that Virgo moon and being productive in what can be done. And the other question is, what do I actually factually know? What do I actually factually know? Not just what do I think it is, what is my opinion of it, but what do I know that is factual? Right? This can help remove some of the impulsive thinking and to give us a good way to work with that Mars retrograde. Because if we're taking action or using a strategy based on information that is just opinion as opposed to fact, we can be pointing this ship in the wrong direction and it will be pretty heated because that Mars is out of retrograde. So what do I factually know? And what can I do right now? And I'll tell you, it has been a real experience, walking through this Mars retrograde, the same as you guys. And sometimes the answer is the only thing I can do right now is to go finish the dishes, right? Really practical, mundane in my house, Cancerian, make sure my security, make sure my own house is in order before I'm worrying about other things kind of behavior. But it's also a life-saving energy. So I invite you to that. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling the pressure, whatever, you're feeling elated, like super high in elation, right? What can I do? And what do I factually know? These are things I think are going to absolutely save the day. And use Thursday as a nice grounding day. Organize, plan, be practical in your problem solving. Mercury's also in Capricorn, so this is a really good day for all of that, okay? Now, when we get to Friday, okay, we're going to see on Friday that the energy is going to take just a little bit of a shift as we're here in the beginning of the day because we have a nice live aspect, okay? So we've got the sun in a sextile to Neptune. So now the sextile means there's not only a pocket of opportunity, but we are intelligently taking action on it as well. So Sun Neptune, first of all, what I love about it, and I love about where we start off the week, where we're having to look for security and there's a lot of feelings on the table. And then we come to the end of the week. It's like there's so much space for compassion here. Like the spiritual awareness and awakeness that is available for us to access. And it's not about just how do you feel, right? The spiritual aspects may show up this time with the sun, my motivation in that sextile to Neptune. So what am I doing? What am I doing to create the world that I want to live in? What am I doing to create compassion here? What am I doing? How am I showing up? Am I giving kindness? This is an ideal aspect for giving kindness, engaging in things that bring a little chicken soup to the soul, right? Do you guys remember those books? It's like a series, I suppose. So whatever that is for you under this particular energy, if you feel inspired to volunteer, to write poetry, to take a meditative walk, to pray for your fellows, to, create something that you're putting out that is really creative and really about connecting compassionately to others, this is going to be a really ideal day here on Friday to do that. Now, the one caveat I have to this is because it can also feel really good, is that I would be mindful of ignoring your boundaries, right? In your efforts to help or to be compassionate, like ignoring your boundaries. Again, we have some of this overextended energy here. That's going to move it from creative and compassionate and unconditional love to a resentment really fast. And Mars is happy to take on resentment right now. So maybe watch your boundaries in your efforts to help other people. Okay, Saturday the 18th brings us to Venus in a conjunction with Saturn, who's over in Pisces. Now, this aspect is going to be happening later in the day. So we're still under that Sun-Neptune vibration all of Friday, most of the day on Saturday until we get to the evening time. But as Venus comes into this conjunction here with Pisces at 6:26 p.m., it's an aspect that does bring a seriousness to your relationships and to your finances, right? The rose-colored glasses are coming off. The rose-colored glasses are coming off. It's like, no, we have to talk about this. So first of all, what I like about the conjunction here, especially in Pisces, is that it's encouraging commitment. It's encouraging stepping up to responsibility instead of having it thrust on you. Like you're stepping up to it because you want to grow and deliver in this way. And in Pisces, it is a stepping up to committing to find the unconditional love, to look into the eyes of your fellow man, whether it be your children, your spouse, yourself, and find the spirit of the universe, find that beautiful, innocent 5-year-old and love and nurture that unconditionally. It is to love your partner who is at this point in their life growing through the trauma that they had when they were 15, even though they're 55, right? It is a commitment to staying in the commitments that you have, provided you're gonna do it. But the other thing is the responsibility of it too, the responsibility of loving from an unconditional, compassionate place. And what does that mean? If for some of you, this is the aspect and this is the day where it's coming along and you are deciding, okay, I am going to, we're going to formalize this relationship. This is it. We're going to formalize this relationship. We're not dating anymore. We're doing it. We're going in, taxes and everything. Or we're going to formalize this relationship. I have loved you the best that I can. And now it is time for us to separate, right? Whatever the formalizing is, it's a commitment and you're taking the responsibility on not having it thrust at you. Anything that you wanted to work on under this aspect about setting long-term goals, whether it be relationship, business, financial, looking at how you're going to invest, or if you have an investment strategy for your future, and that is investment of your money, that gold, that compound interest, but it's also your energy, right? Where are you making meaningful investments in every way with this? Is a wonderful aspect to do it, but you're going to do it with a pretty serious tone because Saturn has pulled those rose-colored glasses off. After we get through that, we're going to get to 7 p.m. and the moon is going to hit a trine with the sun and then it's going to slide into its void of course position. So a little bit more harmony, a little bit more balance. And it's funny, right? Because when Saturn gets involved, we have Saturnian conversations. Things get serious, right? Like Saturn enters the room and it's like, you have to pay taxes. Where's the money for taxes? Like it gets very grounded and very serious, even in that Piscean energy. It's right, like where do you forgive people becomes the question. But there's some solace, I think, when we have a discipline in our lives that is not so rigid, it's suffocating us, but instead it's like a discipline that allows us to actually grow on a path. It feels good. It shows up good. We feel good about how we are, right? I remember how old was I? Maybe 30, 31, and I remember this Nutrisystem commercial with Janet Jackson. Do y'all remember when she was doing that and going through that sweet lady? Anyway, the tagline is you have to have a plan and then you have to get on it. And I have, from hearing that has guided so many things that I have done because I'm like, maybe I feel overwhelmed or this isn't working out because I don't have an actual disciplined plan to allow it to take the shape that it needs to. So this is that energy. But just behind that, as we see the moon make that just quick little trine to the sun, that's balanced. That's harmony. Reflect on what you have done well. Reflect on your achievements when we get to Saturday night. Be gracious. Have gratitude. Where do you have gratitude for your life? Are you really grateful for the people, places, and things in your life? Because gratitude's an action, not just a feeling. So what does this look like for you, right? It's a great energy to bring that on in. Now, after that, the moon is going to slide into Libra. We have a very short void. Of course, it's not very short because we've had a couple that are like 16 minutes. This is about an hour and a half. So the moon will slide into Libra. Again, we have an emphasis here of harmony, of balance, of connection, especially at the social level. So strengthening your commitments, harmony in your relationships, in your financial life. Saturday is a great day for it. Now, what is not a great day for is being massively and overly critical of yourself or others. That's just not it there on Saturday. Okay, and as we are coming around the bend here to Sunday, busy day. We've got a lot of aspects that are popping up on Sunday, and they are going to involve some personal planets. So let's talk about that. Okay, so first and foremost, out of the gate, early morning, we've got Mercury in a sextile to Saturn, which of course then very quickly will be a sextile to Venus as well. However, Mercury being first in this conversation with Saturn, this is nice because it supports under that sextile for us to have the aspect of ease and then for us to take action on being really focused in our communication, being really disciplined in our thinking. This is the kind of energy, if you're up at 12:37 a.m. Mountain Time, to tackle a really detailed project or a plan or set the table so that you can have a serious conversation, even if it needs to be later in the day, because Mercury will come into that sextile with Venus then just a few hours down the road, and it's warm. This brings an avenue of warmth to the table. This is sitting in sextile. Mercury's in Capricorn, Venus is over here in Pisces. They get along very well. They're like, let's solve these misunderstandings. What has been misunderstood? And so it's easier to express it, and you're expressing in a way that's a lot more factual, right? Because when Mercury is in Capricorn, it's not just all the feelings, it is also factual. What information do I have? And that information gives way to open the door for more affection because those misunderstandings are healed, but also to just share the facts in our communication. Now, beyond that, we will see at about 1 p.m., and this is again Mountain Time, Mercury is going to square against Chiron. Okay, so this is an aspect that I think can be a little bit challenging because maybe a conversation has happened, we've been warm, we've opened the affection, and then Mercury squares against Chiron. And depending on where you are at, this can open an old wound, or an old wound like resurfaces, and it comes, it's coming up especially around your identity. And it's like the space of who am I now versus who I've been. And the conversation that you've had earlier, maybe it brought up something that was created or a pattern with a different version of yourself than you understand yourself to be here. So this aspect, even in the square likely does not feel well, but it feel good, but it's going to demand that you do something. Squares want us to take some kind of action. So you can use this as an opportunity to heal rather than to avoid. Remembering Chiron has done a lot of beautiful work on you. Chiron's not retrograde anymore. So this new version of you, this new healed version of your own identity is here. It's working. It's how you're in the position to have different conversations in your life right now. So to remember that, I can remember stupid mistakes that I made in my 20s and in my 30s. And, you push that button and I can still kind of get that cringe, but this version of me would not think of handling those things that way anymore. And so it's kind of like that, where it's like, go ahead and say it. Yeah, I did do that. I did believe that. I did whatever, but it's also not who I am today. And I can confront this. I can confront that, maybe it's not even the difference between being 20 and 42. Maybe it is that 6 months ago you ran that credit card up like nobody's business. And today you're a little bit more financially savvy, or at least you understand what that does, what that will do in the future, and you're ready to have the conversation from a sobering place of what you know today and what you're willing to do to not have that experience, right? So it doesn't have to be these long distance from ourselves explorations, okay? So just to say that is available. Now, before we are gonna close out the day and we get to shutting down our Sunday, we're going to see that the sun shifts into the vibration of Aquarius. So happy birthday, Aquarius. This is confetti. And this is my smile with confetti for your birthday. Okay. Happy birthday. So it's Aquarius season for all of us as well. So make sure you locate the area of your chart, what house in your chart holds your Aquarian energy, because it's once a year birthday as well. You're going to focus in this area of your chart for the next 4 weeks. And this season brings innovation, friendliness, forward thinking energy. There's an emphasis on what do I do? What is my individuality and my authenticity? And then how do I add that to the collective of humanity so that there is collective progress as well? But before it's ready to add all the collective progress, sometimes it's like, no, this is me. This is what I'm about, right? We have so much of the Aquarius energy that is also considered to be the sign or the energy of the astrologer. So I love it. You know, maybe many of you are coming out here to be astrologers and join our field, join this industry. Maybe some of you are becoming astrologers for your own house in your own home. I love that. Come study with me. Come study with other people. Stay here online. Let's gather because we're keeping our hearts and our minds and our spirits open to how to do this collective dance really, really consciously. And that is an absolutely brilliant thing. So Sunday, as we are rolling it up, it is a great day too with that sun in Aquarius for a little bit more creative problem solving. Great day for meaningful conversations if you have to have them and remembering that you have grown and planning for your future. Aquarius does want to plan for the future, and Mercury's over there in Capricorn and is okay with that as well. So it's a great day to do that. What I would not suggest, again, and I know some of you are just, this is not necessarily your temperament, but we're a very big family here. We house a lot of different souls learning a lot of different lessons over here. So Sunday is not the day for dwelling. It's not dwelling. It's not a day to dwell on who you've been, the mistakes of the past, even if the past was just last week and today you know a little bit better. Sunday is a day I would invite you to experience your being and focus on the growth. Focus on the growth, okay? All right, my beautiful friends, this week is, of course, it is another cosmic week that is actually built to have us being exactly where we need to be for our human journey, but it is a mix of emotional reflection, having to find a place to be assertive, having to have some real grounded conversations like big kid kind of stuff, you know. But if I could offer you something this week is, to the best of your ability, if you can use the energy to nurture connections, to look at where you can say, what can I do? And put your hands on the things that can clear things off of your table so that as we get out of the retrograde time, your table is clear. You don't have that to worry about. You can move forward, and to just refine some of your goals with new eyes, new innovation, right? New Aquarius season innovation. I think it would be a great way to take advantage of what the week has to offer to you. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends. Thank you so much for being here with me. And yes, please check out my other channels. Lagatia Academy is my business channel, and it is not astrology. If you have an idea, you are a creative entrepreneur, you want to build a business, I'll show you how to build a business with one core product. You just really need one core product and you can do it. And if you are a traveler, you're thinking, I want to move to Spain or I want to come to Germany, right? I have got a beautiful travel channel. It's called Mercury T. It's a combination of Venus and Mercury where I share the beauty of travel with you. So you can check those out. I'll make sure they're in the description box down below as well. But yeah, I would love to see you guys here, there, and everywhere. And Australian soulmates, I will see you guys in less than 48 hours. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you